It is Monday, June 21st. We're going to do marketing for hippies with Tad Hargreaves. Tad is a hippie who developed a knack for marketing and then had to learn how to be a hippie again. Since 2001, he's been weaving together strands of ethical marketing, Waldorf school education, a history in the arts, culture making, anti-globalization activism, an interest in his ancestral traditional cultures, community building, and supporting local economies into his work, helping hippies create profitable businesses that are ethically grown while restoring the beauty of the marketplace. Tad, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm thank you for responding to my email.
You're welcome. How did this come to be that I'm here?
This came to be, so our mutual friend Simon posted something about you and he tagged marketing for hippies and I said, "What's that?" And then I clicked it and then it said, "If you have people who will listen to me talk, I will come and talk."
Wow,
Somewhere in your website. And
we
so
did it.
and
I'm
we
here.
did it.
I'm talking.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's dive in. Thank you for hosting, Daniel. Thanks for bringing all your people together. Thanks to those of you who are here live and to those watching the recording. Good to meet you in this way. I'll start the screen share and oh, can you see the screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So yeah, the 7 fundamentals of ethical marketing. That's what we're talking about. And yeah, by the end of this workshop, you're going to learn a little bit about my story, what the 7 fundamentals are. You'll hear about my starter kit and my membership briefly. You're also going to hear my 30,000-foot take on marketing overall, be guided through a few micro reflections and polls. Hopefully, feel a sense of relief that marketing can both feel good and work. And I think you're going to be a lot clearer about where your marketing is strong and where it's weak. So before we start, I'm going to invite everyone to think of a successful business that you admire. And we'll come back to it later for something important, but it could be, I'd actually almost prefer it wasn't a coach of some kind. Could be a local restaurant, a clothing shop, a crafter, a farmer, but some business, and it's important not just that you admire them, but they are successful. They're crushing it. They're doing well. They're profitable. So I invite you to think of, and this could be the business, when your friends come to town, you always bring them there. Look at this local business. This is doing so amazing. Yeah, the local success story, or a friend of yours who's just doing really well in business. So I'm going to invite you to think of one. Just make a note for yourself mentally. And again, we'll come back to this down the road a bit. Now, in the chat, I'd be curious to hear what are the things that you've been told you need to do in marketing to grow your business that feel off or that seemed exciting until you got busted. Now, I'll take one off the table because we always hear it, being told that you have to post on social media all the time, every day, 24/7. Yeah. So, but what are the things aside from that that you've been told you need to do that's like, oh God, I don't want to do this. Okay. So newsletters, NLP. Okay, right. You got to put people in a trance, program them somehow to buy. Okay. What else? Marketing funnels, offer classes, Instagram, good referral sources, sliding scales. Right. Creating a false sense of urgency, randomly reaching out to people on social media, right? People you never met. It's great. Okay. Now it's interesting. Some of these, not particularly unethical, some of them a little less ethical, but all of them things that there's some questions about. So hopefully by the end, you'll see where those tactics fit. And we're going to, yeah, hopefully they'll be contextualized a bit more and make a bit more sense. Because what I've seen is that in the marketing world, we're often told we need to do things that we don't need to do. We're told that if you don't do this tactic, you will be a wretched failure forever. It'll never work. And that's almost never true. That's very rarely anywhere even close to true. There are a lot of ways to grow your business. And I'll say this from the start. Nothing in your marketing should ever feel ethically off, ever. There's no need for it to. Might it feel scary, the fear of visibility? Yeah, okay. But that's different than a kind of at the level of your conscience, it feeling off. Yeah, you don't need to ever do anything like that. Yeah. So just a note on overwhelm today. One, you can review all of this in the ethical marketing starter kit I'll talk about. Keep breathing. Three, just take what comes easiest today. Let the rest slide by. It's not, everything is not supposed to land in one call. But do take notes. I do recommend taking notes because there's a lot we're going to talk about. Also, feel free to stay in touch at Marketing for Hippies. If you want to take a photo today of the class, put it up, tag me. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. But that's where I am on Instagram. Okay, let's dig in on desperation. So, what I find is a lot of people who come to me are at some level of desperation. They started their business with great hopes, I will build it and they will come, and they built it and nobody came, or not enough people came. And so there's more month at the end of the money, and it's just not working out. And so it's just, of course, normal that people start to feel a little bit desperate about this. And what do I do? And the challenge is that the solutions people pick to the desperation often deepen the desperation. So I'll give four examples. Um, but I often hear people saying, yeah, is it even possible for a business like this to work? Does anyone do it? Is it possible for my business to succeed? Why is it that so many coaching businesses and holistic practitioners fail and never make any money? Yeah, I would say half the people in my membership who join, when they join, they're making $10,000 or less per year. So it's rough. It's people are not making a lot of money, and it's easy to think it's just not a doable thing. Something about this niche, this business can't work. And yet we'll see there are people that make it work. Like the business you're thinking of that's succeeding. There's lots of other businesses in the same industry that aren't doing it, that it's not working. So I don't think it's that the industry or the niche necessarily is the problem, but it's a combination of the things we're going to go into. But if in the desperation you do these four things, likely to make it worse. So first thing people do is they go for another degree, right? I'll get another certification. I'll get a diploma in this. More education is going to handle the thing. It's almost never ever true. People aren't buying for that reason, usually. And so people spend a lot of money, they get smarter. And while in the long term, it has benefit, in the short term, zero benefit. Number two, when people are desperate, they get distracted. We have these little black demon boxes here that's just, hours a day, hours and hours a day, just scrolling. We get discouraged. Of course, we get discouraged. Of course, yeah. And then we might get deceptive. When people get desperate, this is where all those tactics that feel sort of unethical start to have some appeal. Because we think, well, fuck it, I did the hippie ethical thing long enough and it's not working. And this isn't that unethical. And in fact, if you look at it this other way, it's the most ethical thing. And all the rationalizations come in to do the things that we maybe know aren't deeply, deeply ethical. And so we do them, or we have. And certainly I did. The challenge with those four approaches and others besides is they all deepen the desperation. It doesn't actually make the situation better. So this is the big line I want to put out today. Depth is the antidote to desperation. That's what we're going for today. Depth is the antidote to desperation. It is not those four things I just went over. Most entrepreneurs I know struggle because they have not gone deep enough into the fundamentals, which we'll get to. So before we really dig in, I know your marketing probably feels overwhelming. So everyone, I invite you to take a deep breath in. And for the next hour, your marketing is my problem. And at the end of this time, I'll hand it back to you. It'll be yours again, but hopefully in better shape than it was when you gave it to me. But for now, relax. It's off your shoulders. Just enjoy the show. So here's a bit about my story. In 1994, I was working for, volunteering for, and then employed by a franchise of Tony Robbins, and I was doing sales. And the kind of sales stuff we learned was these cats, not all bad, but not all great. It's a lot of the high pressure approaches to sales. And I was 18. I didn't really know any better, so I just sort of drank the Kool-Aid and I was doing it. And then I really wanted to go to Tony Robbins Program Mastery University so bad, and it cost so much money, and I couldn't afford it. And so I started doing some fundraising, asking around to see if I could get the money. And I ended up raising the money that I needed to buy the plane ticket to get there. And I found somebody there, and he was willing to loan me the money. But in terms of getting the money to even just get there on a one-way plane ticket, I asked everyone I knew. And one of the people I asked was my uncle Art, who wasn't actually my uncle, but a friend of the family. And I said, "Hey, Uncle Art." And I poured it on thick because, boy, I really wanted this money. Uncle Art is a soil scientist. He's just, a very beautiful guy. He used to babysit me. And I don't remember exactly what I said to him, but I do remember trying to be smooth, convincing, charming, persuasive, and have him not notice that I was doing all of that. And it had him snap at me. It's only maybe the second time in his life he ever snapped at me. And he said, "Ted, you don't need to wheel and deal me." And it stung really badly because it was so unexpected. And the fact that it was so unexpected also was part of what got me. And I thought, how did this Waldorf kid, that's me at Waldorf playing Joseph, how did this kid become a slick salesman? What happened? How did this go wrong somehow? Yeah. Then the franchise collapsed. The Tony Robbins franchise collapsed. And I did a bunch of other stuff. From 95 to 2001, I worked in Santa Cruz doing youth environmental social justice summer camps. 2001 to 2002, I was doing the anti-globalization protests that were so big at the time. Then 2006, 2014, I was doing work around local economies and supporting local independent businesses. And then 2014 through now, it's been more culture work, working with Stephen Jenkinson, folklore, fairy tales, in addition to the business. And all of these things have woven themselves together into my business. Um, but yeah, also over those years, I had a lot of friends who kept asking for my help. This is the Next Act Bar, which was just down the street from an improv company. I used to do improv comedy for 25 years. And we'd be sitting there and they'd tell me about their business. And the thing is, I just knew more than them. I wasn't a genius. I just knew more. So I'd give them help. And all this came together. It's like, maybe I should start a business doing this. So first workshop was in 2001. It was terrible. I had 3 people on the first day, and the second day of it, there were 2 people. And the first one never ever replied to my email, wondering where they went. It was rough. But my big question was, how do I teach marketing in a way that honors my values? Because back then, I didn't have a marketing for hippies. There was like no one like me. I was one of the OGs of this because there wasn't anyone else. So it took me a long time to cobble this all together over the years. And this is the best of what I've come up with. And then I know people often wonder, well, how's this working out for you? Pretty good. I've got this business, marketing for hippies. That's my, here's the biz. And as of June 23rd this year, done workshops in Canada, USA, UK, Netherlands. Revenue is about 400,000 a year. Got 11 subcontractors, 33 online products. Instagram's about 36,000. Email list around 18,000. Facebook group with 5.5 thousand. There's the numbers. So it's going well. It's going well. There's always things to change and tweak and tinker with, but uh, things are working out. And most of that is based on this, what I'm about to share, these 7 fundamentals. And this is why the businesses I've seen that are struggling so much struggle. Why people end up in such desperate straits, I think, is because there's a lot of things going on, but one of the main things is these 7 fundamentals. So here's what they are. Remember, depth is the antidote to desperation, but depth into what? these seven things, but we'll start with three because this is the best sort of overall thing. The smallest circle you see is effectiveness. That is surrounded by ethics and that's surrounded by beauty. Now, I could talk about this for hours, just this one image and what's in it. But effectiveness is the smallest. It's what people come to me with ultimately is, well, how do I make this work? How do I get clients? But that, whoa, okay, whoever just did that, you can stop that. Yeah. Well, that's a trip. One sec.
Let's see what whiteboard. Is it a whiteboard, huh?
Yeah, there should be a way to delete it.
Oh, it's our secret person again.
Okay.
Why don't we just stop sharing and reshare?
No, it won't work. No, it's not the sharing. It's I think that'll work. We can try.
Does this mean it's on all the slides when that happens?
Yeah. Okay, that did work. Grand. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot that's I mean there you go. That's the marketplace for you. Nothing but noise and mess. And when that happens, it's hard to see anything clearly. But people are hungry for something real. People are hungry for some clear signal amidst the noise of all that red scratch across the screen. We're so hungry for it. And we're sick of it. Like what you just saw was somebody's idea of a good time, which was just an unasked for interruption. And those kinds of unasked for interruptions, it's entertaining for this person in the short term, but say a prayer for that person in the long term, because that kind of way of proceeding in their life is not going to go well for them. And it doesn't go well for businesses that do this. The businesses that do the in your face, loud, interrupting, let me get your attention tactics as their only move without any such sense of consent. They add you to your email list or their email list without any consent. That stuff doesn't last, because it's so unethical. Everything you know about consent from other areas of life applies 100% in marketing. It's the exact same thing. And you'll notice that the ethics itself is in this circle of beauty. And beauty, I know, there's a lot of wounds around beauty in this culture, particularly for women. I'm not talking about the kind of synthetic beauty. I'm talking about beauty as those things that make you want to keep going in life. Yeah, the things that make you want to jump up and live another day in a world that can be so ugly. I think effectiveness and ethics are fundamentals in life and business, but beauty, that's the fundament. That's the ground of everything. The fact that things are so ugly in the world is not a statement about the world, it's a statement of what we have done to the world. Yeah. So ugly is easy, as we saw. That's easy to do. Beauty, that's the hard stuff, but that's the worthy stuff. We could look at this model a different way, though. We could look at it sort of like this, where beauty is the background of the whole thing. And there's a pyramid here on the ground, standing on the ground of beauty. And we've got ethics and effectiveness here. Now you notice ethics is at the bottom. So let's kind of start through this pyramid. Why do we have ethics at the bottom and effectiveness on top? Because in the long term, ethics are the whole thing. In the long term, ethics is what gives you a good reputation, and reputation is everything. It takes a lot of fuel for an airplane to get into the jet stream. Once it's there, almost no fuel. Once it's there, it's easy for it to stay up. It's just hard to get up there. And if you proceed unethically in business, you may never even get to the jet stream. You're trying to get somewhere by like hopping, up and down. And you probably don't get there because it's too expensive on the fuel. People who behave unethically end up having to find new people all the time because they keep burning bridges. And we can all think about businesses like that. You all have the look like you've been around long enough that you've been burned a few times, maybe in the coaching business. And then didn't you just talk shit about them to everyone you could? Of course you did. And then that word spreads, and then they're fighting against it. But when you behave ethically, you have a good reputation. So ultimately, most business, really, even just by the metrics, is word of mouth. When you ask people, how did you hear about this product or service? Or when they ask you when you buy something, almost everybody selects from a friend. That's like half the people or more. So statistically, functionally, in practical terms, word of mouth is where it's at. But you cannot get word of mouth in the long term without ethics. I had a friend who was volunteering at an event. It was a sales rally, and all these speakers on stage, and they were all pitching their stuff. And they did very well. The pitches were good. They were very skilled at the pitch. They used all the tactics and all the tools, and they made $1 million in sales on that day. So here's my question. Of course, there's going to be refunds. There's always refunds. It's just, people buy, they regret it, the buyer's remorse. With that size of an event, thousands of people, there'll be refunds. My question to you, what percentage of those people who bought asked for a refund? In the chat, what would you guess? Realistically, knowing that it's always there. Won't be zero. But in the chat, what's a percentage you would guess? What percent of the people asked for a refund the next day? 5%, 6%? Great, good guesses. 20%? 10%? Closest with the Price is Right rules, closest without going higher. Oh, Josh is cynical. 50%. My God, 17%. Okay. I'm going to type the answer in the chat. Check it out. 90%. 90. Almost everybody. So there you go. It's not that the tactics don't work in the short term, all the manipulative tactics, they do. They do work in the short term. And that's the problem. Because either you get the refund requests or worse, you don't. And they stick around and they become a nightmare client. Yeah, people go home and they realize they got worked. They got manipulated, they got NLP'd, etc. It doesn't last. That stuff does not survive the subway ride home. So we got to start with the ethics as the fundamental thing. Okay, so here's my question for you. Hold on, I'm going to put up a poll, an actual poll. Oh, can I do it? I can't. Damn it. Try it because that's not on my own Zoom. That's why I do my own Zoom.
Oh, sorry. Should I?
No, it's we know in the chat. 1 through 10, how good does marketing feel to you? So 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. 10 is like marketing feels fucking fantastic, and 1 is it feels terrible. What's the number you're at? Okay, 9, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the average here is about 5. Eyeballing it. Yeah, 4.55. We're somewhere in that ballpark. So that's rough. Because here's the thing, if marketing feels bad for you, you will avoid doing it. And that's a problem because you need to market in your business. So that's the consequence too of marketing unethically, or when we don't find ways to market that are ethical. Some part of us knows it's off, and so we just avoid doing it. And then we feel like, oh God, it must be some inner work and therapy I need. Or this is what the coaches tell us. Oh yeah, it's your inner game. You got to work on that. And luckily for you, I have a $10,000 coaching program to help you with this inner game. Let me just save you years of therapy. If you just stop doing unethical stuff, or you find an ethical approach, really genuinely, well and truly, a lot of that resistance goes away. A lot of the resistance is the best part of you is showing up for duty saying this isn't right. That's it. It's not the worst part of you. It might be the best part of you. So Everyone try this if you'd be willing. You're gonna, if you're willing, put your hands together like this in the sort of prayer position. And what I'm gonna invite you to do is to push as hard as you can with your right hand. Push with your right hand as hard as you can. Good, good, good. And then grab your left wrist and pull as hard as you can with your right hand. Great. So here's what I saw happen almost to everybody, and I didn't see everyone on the screen, is this and this. That's not what should have happened based on what my instructions were. The instructions were pretty simple. Push as hard as you can. Pull as hard as you can. That's what should have happened. But of course, that's what should have happened if we weren't human beings. Because what do human beings do when we're pushed? We push back. What do we do when we're pulled? We pull back. That's the game. That's how it is. And it's good to just lose any sense of naivete about that. If you are pushed, you will push back. Even if that somebody who is pushing you is you. Wild but true. We push ourselves and we even resist ourselves. The need for autonomy is so strong. So that's the challenge. So much marketing and sales stuff ends up being pushy. And then people say, no, no, I don't do push. We do pull energy. So force is okay as long as it's, you just change the direction. Then it's cool to coerce people and force people. It's the pressure itself that's the problem. That's the thing that creates the resistance. Then you get the resistance. You say, that's an objection. So what do you got to learn to do? You got to learn how to overcome the objection. By doing what? Applying more pressure. Ta-da! And now we're caught in this war, which nobody wants to be in. Yeah. So let's go back to the slides here. All right. So then I came across the work of this fellow, Ari Galper. His website is unlockthegame.com now. But he had this little ebook, Cold Calling, the Reverse Selling Way. Now, I've been doing functionally cold calling for years, and it was so miserable. And so I got his work, I delved in, and it blew my mind. And the central piece I got from him that turned everything around for me was that instead of focusing on the sale, you focus on the truth. Instead of focusing on getting the sale, you focus on getting to the truth. The truth of what? Well, is it a fit or not? And if it's not a fit, it's no deal. Yeah, so much marketing. All the people I showed you who I learned from, Tony Robbins, all this stuff, and so much of the modern stuff is functionally this. How do you get people to buy and say yes? That's the goal. If they buy, the person you're talking to, you succeeded. If they don't buy, you failed. And I'm saying you don't need to do that. I'm saying if you focus on the truth, you're actually more likely to get more sales, especially in the long term, especially, but also in the short term. Why? Because you stop wasting time on people who aren't a fit. Yeah. Okay. So let's jump to the top though and work our way down. So at the top of the pyramid, we've got sharing. And by sharing, I mean, you got to figure out some way to get the word out there. There's all sorts of tactics. Yeah, posters, handbills, Facebook ads, podcast interviews, hosting signature workshops like this, uh, networking events. We could go on and on with all the ways. Write a book. And by the way, you do have a list of these now because once Facebook realized you were an entrepreneur, it started sending you ads of everything you need to do to succeed. And they're all trash talking each other. No, this is the only one. The thing is, they all do work fundamentally, with very few exceptions. I think most of those ads work. That's not the problem. But if they all work, here's what's needed. You got to find the one that's going to work for you. Weight Watchers had a great line where they said there's one form of exercise that has been proven to be the most effective for weight loss. And they have people guess, is it running, swimming, walking, rock climbing, weights? What is it? And what they say, which I think is so true, is the most effective form of exercise for weight loss is the one that you'll do. It doesn't matter if swimming is better if you are terrified of swimming. It doesn't matter if networking is the best for your industry if you are just a profound introvert, if you are really shy and that is the worst idea you've ever, see what I'm saying? So it's important to pick a tactic, and I recommend pick one primarily. Pick a tactic that you can do sustainably over time. Some people love being on social media and they can make it work for them. Others can't. So don't pick the one that's going to make you miserable and you'll resist it and resent it and then end up just avoiding it. You've got to pick a tactic that's going to work for you over time. That's the most important thing I can say about finding a way to share your work. Now, more important than that is this idea of hubs or hub marketing. When I say hubs, I mean this, like a wheel has a hub, the center where all the spokes get together and, have drinks from time to time and catch up on their lives on the outside of the wheel. That's what I mean by hub. So in this case, Daniel is a hub for me. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to reach people. Daniel's like, oh, I've got some people that might be interested in your work. He brings me in. He's a hub. So instead of trying to find you all individually, approach you cold as a stranger, Daniel, who you know as a hub, invites you here. That's the way hub marketing works. I'll give you an example that to me is my favorite example of hub marketing I've ever heard. It's about Girl Guide cookies. So in Canada, we got the Girl Guides and they sell cookies. And they got these vanilla maple kind of ones and chocolate, double chocolate fudge. They're not that great, but they're not terrible, but we buy them. Now, why do we buy them every year? Because they manipulate us. They knock on our door, they push the youngest, most adorable one forward. And then how can you say no to a child's dream? Can you say no to this little child, you monster? So of course we buy. And we secretly want the cookies, and it's a good rationale. But that's a lot of time for them, right? They go knocking on doors, trying to sell all their cookies. And there was one girl who was in Canada, a girl guide, and she was in a wheelchair and she couldn't go door to door. That it wasn't going to work for her. So her father thought, well, let's set up like a lemonade stand, but with cookies. And they'll come to you. Well, this is a great shift in orientation. What if instead of trying to go to them, we get them to come to us? Great. But where's the foot traffic? So location, location, location. They took that and they put it right in front of a weed shop, right? You got something that would be useful for people who had the munchies, let's say. So where might you put it? Well, where do people with the munchies have? Oh, there we go. She sold out in 2 hours. People come out, oh, I'll buy a box of cookies from you. You should buy 10. "Oh, I'm not that hungry. Oh, you will be. Oh, you got me there, kid. You got me there. And boom, sold out. See what I'm saying? That's hub marketing. Instead of going door to door, talking to people cold, you just find out where do they hang out and you go there. It works much better. Okay. But hub marketing is not the only thing. You can't start with hub marketing either because you've got to have an offer. In the Girl Guides, case, they got cookies. They have a product. That's good. It's fine. It's a good product, So you got to have something to offer. You got to have a structure set up for your business model because I'll promise you this. If you go to a hub and say, hey, do you want to share my work? And they check out your work and the quality is poor or questionable, or they can't discern if the offer is good, they're not interested. They'll be polite, say thank you very much. But there has to be something good to offer that they figured their people would look at and say, shut up and take my money. That's amazing. Yeah, and you all have this where you push certain things on your friends, like you have to check this out. Why? Is it because you're getting paid? No. It's because it's so good. You're independent. You're just you believe in this business, so you're telling your friends about it. So we've got to start with this. We've got to start with the structure of the business, a major part of which is the offer. Also, so check this out. Last time I did a retreat here in Duncan last year, I took everyone out for dinner on the Saturday night or the Friday night. And I took them to this restaurant. Anyway, I won't name it, but it's in the area. It's right by a lake. Beautiful view. I'd had a meal there before, really enjoyed it. I thought that just the view is so great for people from out of town. We have the meal. The next day, I hear from people that the service was terrible and like the fries were dry. And one of them got a salad that had like wilted greens in, like those green clumps, from the clam shells that have sat there for 2 weeks. That was in the salad. And she took it back. It's like, can I just get another salad? I'm not even going to complain. That's where we just kind of, and the response was, I can't guarantee it'll be any different than this one. Anyway, I hear this the next day. So it's not just the offer of the food being good, the service, that's part of the business model. That's part of the systems, the structure. And so this year I took them all to a different restaurant. Yeah, where the food was good, the service was good, the ambiance, the whole business model, the whole structure worked better. And then people thanked me afterwards instead of complaining to me. So before we go to the hubs, before we approach people, we got to have something worth offering. And there's so much to say about business model, but we'll go on. You can't start with business model though. That's not the first thing either, because your business model is an expression of your point of view. Yeah, it's an expression of your philosophy, your taste, your aesthetic, your style. And if you don't have a clear point of view, this is the thing that AI will never be able to do. AI will never have a point of view. Yeah, not its own point of view. It'll always be a derivative point of view of other people. It will never see things uniquely because it can't stand anywhere in particular. A point of view means you're standing somewhere at a certain point and you're seeing things from that point. AI isn't standing anywhere. There is no point. It's everywhere. So there's no such thing as a point of view from everywhere. And also, by the way, it's standing nowhere because it's not real. So point of view is the uniquely human thing. Point of view means instead of trying to get people, making the case for people to buy from you, you're making the case for an approach. Let me give you an example of this. Imagine you've got a problem in your life. Well, you don't have to imagine, there it is. Now, it could be your health, could be relationships, could be money, could be a spiritual conundrum, but you got something and it's really urgent for you. And if it's not you, there's a friend in your life who's got something. And I say, hey, that thing you mentioned during the call, there's a workshop on that tonight. Can you believe your luck? And I really recommend it. And you say, well, okay, Ted had some good hippie jokes right off the top. Workshop's not too bad. I like his chapeau. I'll go. So you go to the workshop. And the workshop, now it's relevant, right? It is like the title couldn't be more specific. It's as if the workshop were titled and the sales page is written just for you. It's really on point in that way. So you go, but the workshop is fucking terrible. It's laughably bad. Yeah, it's really awful. It's like a workshop on health and it's beating candida. So you want to beat candida, what you got to do is increase your refined sugar. You got to just feed yourself with refined sugar. Nothing but refined sugar for 30 days. Then we're going to go to fruit. And then we're going to go to, and you're sitting there like, is he serious? Is this for real? It's so bad you can't leave. It's popcorn time. You're just like, I gotta stick to around to the end. I gotta see where this goes because this is fucking amazing how bad it is. Um, but at the end, when it comes to the pitch, you have not seen a smoother pitch in your life. I mean, it's the social proof. It's a money back guarantee. There's 3 options to sign up. They've made it very easy, they've got the urgency. This deal is only here for 5 hours or whatever the hell. Everything about it is constructed to work. Every psychological button has been pushed. Here's my question for you. Do you buy? Put it in the chat. Yes or no? What do you think? Do you buy? This seems like a sort of axiomatic question, but I'm asking for a reason. Daniel, hopefully not. It's true, man. Some of those tactics, you leave and you're like, what the hell did I just buy? Okay, but basically nobody said yes. Here's why I'm emphasizing this. I think we're told that the decision lives in the pitch, right? If you get the pitch right, that's when people decide to buy. I'm saying that's not true at all. I'm saying by the time you get to the pitch, and you can imagine the pitch is like the tip of the sharing triangle. It's not even the whole triangle. It's just like the smallest. It's so insignificant. It's very small. And people have already made a decision by the time you get to the pitch. consider the opposite. Imagine you go to the workshop and it's the best workshop you've ever been to. I mean, you're weeping tears of relief. Maybe you've been to a workshop like this, one of those ones where at the end of the night, you're just like, oh my God, my whole life I've been waiting to hear that. Or a book you read. And when you read it, it's like, that book that was given to you at the exact right moment by somebody who didn't know what was going on in your life, but you're reading is like, this is the book I need right now in my life. Oh my God. Everything it's saying, it's like that. I feel the same way. I've thought the same thoughts, but I never put it quite this way. And this makes sense. This makes so much sense. It's that kind of a workshop. But when it comes to the end, it's a shitty pitch. The pitch is not well thought out. It's not super clear. Here's my question to you. Do you think you still might buy, or ask them, could I work with you? This problem's really bad. The whole point of view makes sense. And the pitch is not good. Do you think there's a chance you still might end up doing business with them? What do you think in the chat? Let's see. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Seems likely. Yes. Now, please hear me. I'm not advocating doing a shitty pitch at all. Also be clear. I mean, yeah, have a good, share your business well. But you can see the difference. If the point of view is good and clear and compelling, you make a good case for an approach to the issue, and the pitch is rough, people may still buy. But if you try to flip that scenario, people won't. Or worse, they will. Or worse, they will. And then you've got somebody who's probably not aligned with your point of view, and enjoy that client. That should be a good time. So point of view comes before business model, because all of your offers are an expression of your point of view. Let me just be practical about that. You're standing there at the end of the presentation, and basically you're saying, look, if this resonated with you, here's what I've got as a next step. See what I'm saying? It's just like a grace note. If you resonate with the point of view at the business model level, here's the offer, here's the pitch. That's it. That's all. The offer, the pitch shouldn't be much more than that. Doesn't need to be much more. It depends on the offer. You may need to take a few minutes and talk it through. But if your pitch is like a third of the presentation, something has gone wrong, because now you've focused on the pitch instead of the point of view. But you can't start with a point of view. No, no, no. Because below that is niche. Niche means, the way I articulate or define niche is it's your role in the community. It's your it's the thing you want to be known for in the marketplace. And there are a lot of ways to succeed in business, but in case any of you are just thinking of failing and you just think, the success ended up being too easy, I want some variety in my life, here's a way to fail and guarantee that you struggle with marketing forever. It's 4 words. It's so simple. Be everything to everybody. It's the people-pleasing thing is it's a rough road to take in business. Ultimately, you're going to be known for one thing. The question is, what do you want that one thing to be? Really well and truly, that's what's going to, if you're known at all, if you are so lucky that anyone knows you, they will, how it is, you meet somebody at a taco place, and when you put their name and phone number in the phone, it's like Timmy Tacos. You give them a nickname based on where you met them or something funny about them. Like Captain Hook would be like, Captain Hook Pegleg or something. It'd be the most memorable thing about him. We do this all the time. We remember certain things, and it's usually one. It really ends up being about one thing that you know how it is. You're friends with the nicknames in the community. Everyone knew them for that one thing, and it stuck forever. Oh God, it stuck. And that's who they are. So you're going to be known for one thing. What do you want it to be? And I'll give some examples of some clear niches here. Here's some 5 examples of clear niches. I love this one, Joe Byron Russell. What happened to us? Therapeutic coaching for couples in crisis. What I'm going to point out in all of these is you all know as you see them if you're in this niche or not, if this is for you or not. First of all, if you're in a couple, I hope. If you're polyamorous, you may not be on the same page as your partner. Might want to check in. But number 2, if you're in crisis or not. I hope. But yeah, so number 2, Alex Baisley, Big Dream Program. An impromptu wander around my kitchen invitation to check out my Big Dream Program. If the topic of life purpose, life direction, finding your calling, or put more simply, figuring out what the sweet holy fuck am I doing with my life is a big question for you these days. This program is about that. I include this one intentionally because it's a bit rambly in the wording. I would rather your wording be rambly around a clear point than really brief and concise on something fuzzy. And in this case, you kind of know if you're trying to figure out what the sweet holy fuck you're doing next in your life. Yeah, that's a clear symptom to me. Number 3, Nasanka, who's in my membership, she came up with this. Are you parenting with a narcissistic partner or ex? That's real clear. You probably know if that's you or not. And you may know somebody where it's like, oh man, you're with a narcissist. You gotta get help with this. This is no good. Amy Hartle, taking care of your body after a breast cancer diagnosis can be overwhelming. You don't have to do it alone. That's her niche. Again, very clear. This is a new one. I just saw the other day, somebody in the membership, Liz, the tinyviking.ca, help your tiny Viking thrive for parents of kids ages 3 to 7 who kick, bite, scratch, and throw. Because that's been her experience. So again, you know if you're a parent with a kid who does those things and you just feel like, I don't know what to do, where to start. Those are all clear niches rather than I'm a coach and I help everybody. That's the best part about coaching. Anyone can benefit. Okay, but you can't start with niche either. There's something even below niching. Assuming you're starting ethically and with a good heart, you got to have space. This is something I've seen over the years, and I couldn't figure out why people were struggling. And I realized, oh, their life is too full to have a business. They're doing too many things. They're overgiving, they're overextending and burning out. And it's like, why did I give them homework and they never applied it? Because they're too busy. I think a lot of people are almost over their businesses because they overgive. Yeah, and I'm the first among sinners in this category too. But if you want to succeed in your business more than you have, almost certainly here's the formulation. You've got to make it a higher priority in your life than it is. That's almost certainly true. You want to make more money? Making money has to be a higher priority. Because what happens is it's like literally everything else in our life is a priority except making money, except making the business work. And then we wonder why it's not working. This means a lot of saying no to things. Yeah, it's again, the overgiving is rampant. We're on every volunteer board. We're there for every single friend every time. And we overextend ourselves, and then our business suffers. We just don't, there's no room, there's no space left. So we got to have some breathing room. And saying no, not because we're too busy, because we don't want to be that busy anymore. There's a certain amount of Marie Kondoing our lives, our physical space, but also, going through the calendar and like, do I really want to do all these things? Do I want to be on that volunteer board? Do I want to? It's not that there isn't a season for those things. I'm just saying if you're in a season of wanting to grow your business, that requires a kind of focus, which requires a kind of space, which a lot of us don't have, given our proclivities to help everybody with everything all the time. So those are the 7 fundamentals as you see them. And so the recap, what I'm saying is this up here, sharing your work is easier with all of these in place. Also easier for other people to share your work with all these things in place. Yeah, people are like, how do I get the word out there? And they come to me like wanting a tactic for sharing. And I'm saying, but what point is it to share it? Just think about it. What happens if you have none of these? You're like, I'm going to start a business and I'm sketchy. I got no ethics at all. I'm predatory, but I'm also too busy to really be doing this. I don't even have time to make this work. I'm trying to just scam everybody with everything. I got no discernible point of view. All my offers are mediocre or shitty or don't even exist. And I'm cold approaching people. It's just me approaching people, not with hubs. And you know what I'm saying? You see how futile that whole endeavor is. But when you have all these things in place, by the time you get to sharing, it's very easy. So easy it's unnerving to people, actually. It's like, this should be harder somehow. I've struggled so long. Why is this so easy? Good to remember. Things can be ethical and easy. Ethical does not equal hard. That's a connection we got to make. Yes, there's things that are ethical and hard, but there's also things that are ethical and easy. And there's things that are unethical and hard. And there's things that are unethical and easy. And if you're going to be unethical, at least do the unethical and easy stuff. Don't do unethical and hard. It's why should everybody be miserable, you know? So, but the 7 fundamentals aren't quite enough. It's worth laying this out. Even with the 7 fundamentals, you know, there's finances. Some people have more. There's inherited wealth or debt. There are institutional structural forces in society. There are legacies of trauma. There's other business skills you got to have to make a business work or hire people. It's not just these 7 fundamentals, but all those things being equal, your marketing will work better with these 7 fundamentals in place. Yeah. So now, here's the thing that I think is worth pointing out at this moment. In the chat, tell me if this sounds true for you. You are not that good at self-promotion and you think you should be better. Does that feel real to you? Like, you're like, I should just be better at this self-promotion thing because I'm not. I'm not very good at it promoting myself. So I should be better. Can I get an amen from the house on that? Is that true? Yeah, I should be comfortable. More comfortable than I am. Okay. That's an insane thought, that you should be better at self-promotion. And let me tell you why. This is what I've discovered after almost 25 years in the biz. Self-promotion is human kryptonite. Almost everybody is uncomfortable with self-promotion. And what I mean by self-promotion, there's 2 problems with this whole framing. One is people feel like, oh, I got to promote myself, but that's not true. It's almost never that. You're not promoting yourself, you're sharing a point of view, you're sharing your offerings. But this notion of like, I'm promoting me, I just think is a misnomer. I don't think that's an accurate description of what's happening. And I think it's a description, it's a wording that makes us stressed because it makes it so personal. Then the rejection is personal to me. But also, like, here, imagine this. If I were to say, look, okay, Daniel's gone off screen, so I'm gonna go rogue and I'm gonna spotlight one of you and I'm gonna give you a minute. And in that minute, you are gonna have to convince us to hire you. And it's gonna happen in 3 seconds. Are you ready? 3, 2, it's not gonna happen. Of course, I'm not gonna do it, and you're all relieved. Why are you relieved? You're at a marketing workshop. I'm gonna give you a chance to market yourself. This should be the dream, but it's not, it's the nightmare instead. Because I'll tell you something. You don't want to do it. And we don't want to hear it. None of us want to sit through a minute-long commercial. Now, if I were to say, you got a minute, share your point of view, share your philosophy, that actually might be interesting. But the commercial we don't want to sit through. So self-promotion is human kryptonite. So there's 2 things I want to say. The first one, a recap of what I said, you seem to resonate with it. You are shitty at self-promotion. That's number 1. You're not good at it. So we got an amen on that. Number 2, you're not going to like this one as much. But this is actually the great key to making marketing work. Number 2, you will always be shitty at promoting yourself. I'm trying to tell you that's not going to change. You can do all the inner work you want, but this idea of, I'm going to give you a minute to convince us to hire you, you will probably never feel comfortable with that. Why? Because you shouldn't. Because that's not a normal thing for humans to do. The only people who feel really comfortable with that all the time are sociopaths. For the rest of humans, we're shy when it comes to self-promotion. It's not a normal thing to do. I didn't make the rules. This just seems to be wired into humans from what I can tell. The normal response when somebody's like, hey, do you want to tell people about your work? A human, normal, natural response is to do something like this. Oh, fuck. Okay. That's what a human being does. It's just like, oh God, do I have to? Can't you do it for me? Okay. I beat on that enough. You're just not going to be good at it. Let it go. let go of the therapy around it, let go of the inner work around it. You're just always going to feel a little weird about it. But okay, if self-promotion is human kryptonite, if there's kryptonite, well, there's got to be a superpower because that's how that works. The yellow sun of our planet has given you a power. It's given all of us a power. Here's the question. If self-promotion is human kryptonite, in the chat, what is the superpower that goes with it? Because there is a superpower and all humans have it. All human beings have this superpower. Okay, sharing our work, helping others, humility, service. These are good. They're probably true as well. Talking about the power of what you do, I think that's just a sneaky way of saying self-promotion. Connection. Okay, here's what I think it is. Here's something you are all good at. And give me an amen if this is true. You are all fucking great at promoting other people. Can I get an amen? You're so good at it. That business you named at the beginning, haven't you told so many people about it? Hell, they probably owe you like a letter in the mail of how thankful they are because you saved their business, all the people you send them. Yeah, you're really good at it. That's the thing. I want you to hold that. Okay, so we got two things. You're bad at self-promotion. You'll always be bad. And you're really good and will always be good at promoting other people. So what does that turn into then? What does marketing become? Marketing becomes, in part, there's other things too, but it becomes making it easy for the people who love you to spread the word about you. That's one of the shifts that we need to make. Instead of doing years of therapy to get comfortable with doing something that is deeply unnatural to being human and working against ourselves, we work with the superpower of everybody else and we make it really easy for them to share our work, like Daniel is doing for me today. Yeah, we made it real easy for Daniel to do it. Not a lot of heavy lifting. This is one of the keys. Again, there's more. Go
If I
ahead, Daniel.
might interrupt, I
Yeah.
actually made it harder than it needed to be.
You did. You did. Yes, we talked about it. Yes, we had a staff party.
I'm sorry. I'm learning a lot.
uh, so yeah, this is what it becomes. Now, a few last thoughts here in the home stretch. How long does the 7 fundamentals approach take? Well, I don't know. How big a priority is this for you from 1 through 10? How much space are you going to give it? That's part of it. But let's say you make it a big priority. In 1 hour, as we've done today, hopefully you see some obvious gaps. In a month, you're going to see more gaps. In 3 months, you probably will feel discouraged and overwhelmed because you start to see like how rotten the foundations of the house are. You start to realize, oh, I never built foundations, and it's overwhelming to see it. But in 9 months, you start to get it. Things start to clarify. A picture of what you could do emerges. In a year, you really have the fundamentals in place, the basics. In 3 years, your business is transformed. If people come to me and they say, yeah, I'm starting out in my business, how long does it take? It's like, well, from the point that you start working on the fundamentals, 3 years. Give yourself 3 years. But in 1 year, you kind of have the fundaments of the fundamentals in place. But you got to give it a year. You got to give it time. So give it a year. So everyone take a deep breath in. Let it out. Just a few more things here. 2 invitations. These are my shameless plugs. One, I have a membership. This is it. It's 100 US a month. You get a weekly live call with me, just Q&A. All my ebooks, webinars, etc. are a part of it. I got 4 annual semester programs that I do, courses on these fundamentals. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, I do these puttering sessions and you get first dibs plus 25% off. So, if you're curious about it, let us give you a year of that. And you can check it out, marketingforhippies.com/membership. And if it's not the right time, I also have the starter kit and you'll get a recording of this presentation to review, plus a 15-page workbook to help you integrate it. You get a one-time 50% off code for any of my products or services, and I cut a lot. Plus access to my open office hours where I do for the public open coaching, but I only tell people on my email list. That's the only way people hear about it. And you can check it out at the URL there at the bottom of the page. So, and then you're on my email list. Of course, you can unsubscribe at any time. But yeah, if this approach resonates with you, those are the kind of the 2 things that I've got. that are available. And of course, email me, tad@marketingforhippies.com. I'm happy to answer questions to see if it's a fit. Okay. Poll number 2. In the chat, which of the 7 fundamentals will you go deeper with in the next year, do you think? Out of all those ones you saw, what's the one that jumped out for you the most? In the chat, I'd love to see. Okay, hubs and okay, so some of you are a little advanced. You're going to go right to hubs and sharing. Great. Space, point of view, space, niche, space, clarifying niche, point of view, beauty. Okay, all right. Going right for the fundament, point of view, business model, space. Good. The thing I would generally suggest is just start at the bottom and work your way up. If you give yourself a 7 out of 10, or if you give yourself like a 8, 9, or 10, actually even 7 out of 10, just keep moving. If you're like, yeah, my ethics, I'm a little dodgy, but 7 out of 10, not bad. Great. Move to space. And you think, oh, you know what? I've done a lot of creating space in my life. Give myself an 8 out of 10, keep moving. Then you say niche. Oh, I got no idea what I'm doing or who I'm doing it for. That's a 2 out of 10. Start there. Start at the bottom, work your way up. Now, you see the question there. Isn't it true that the business you love, that I asked you, the one you admire from the beginning, has a lot of these 7 fundamentals in place, if not all of them? It's interesting, hey? They're almost certainly ethical. That's why you admire them. They seem to have given it enough room to happen. They have a niche. They're not doing everything for everybody, are they? They do have a point of view, an aesthetic, a style, some taste to them. They have offers that are really good and systems that are good, good customer service. They may have even done some interesting partnerships with hubs, and they've, found ways to share their work. In my experience, the businesses we admire tend to have a lot of these things, and probably there's a lot of beauty at the base of what they do. So in closing, remember, depth is the antidote to desperation. I put an archer here because this is a strange thing about archery that you may not have thought about before. Where in that photo is the target? It's in front of him, isn't it? It's not behind him. If there's a target, it's in front of him. So why it's to the right on your screen, yeah? So then why is he pulling the bow towards the left? That's away from the target. That is not where the target is. What kind of fool is this? You're sending it the wrong way. But what's suggested in this picture is that he's wanting to send it farther forward, so he has to pull it farther back. That's what it's like with the fundamentals. The farther ahead you want to go, the harder you have to pull that bow back. The higher you want to grow your business, the deeper the roots have to go. It seems like a retreat, right? It seems like, oh, he's going away from the target. No, he's doing that so he can actually have a chance of getting to the target. Sometimes you've got to pull the bow back away from where you want to go. You got to take it. That's the space thing. You got to take a bit of a break to say, I'm going to work on the fundamentals so I have a chance. So there we go. Those are the 3 things: ethics, effectiveness, and beauty. I'll end with a poem. This is an abridged version of Khalil Gibran's poem, Half Lovers. It goes like this. Do not love half lovers. Do not entertain half friends. Do not indulge in the works of the half talented. Do not live half a life and do not die half a death. Do not accept half a solution. Do not believe half truths. Do not dream half a dream. Do not fantasize about half hopes. Half a drink will not quench your thirst. Half a meal will not satiate your hunger. Half a way will get you nowhere, and half an idea will bear you no results. Half a life is a life you didn't live, a word you have not said, a smile you postponed, a love you have not had. The half is a mere moment of inability. But you are able, for you are not half a being. You are a whole that exists to live a life, not a half life. So, half the ethics will ruin your reputation. Half the space will be too full. Half a niche will confuse people and bring you the wrong ones. Half a point of view will leave people unconvinced. Half a business model won't shelter you. Half the relationships with hubs won't get you enough clients. Half the sharing won't reach enough people. And half the beauty won't restore the soul of the marketplace, which we desperately need right now. So take another deep breath. I now hand your marketing back to you, hopefully in better shape than it was when I took it on. Feel free to stay in touch. The end. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. Daniel, thank you for hosting me. I'm happy to stick around for a few minutes to answer any questions you have, but I'd love to hear in the chat what was most useful for you from today's call. What was the best part for you? If anyone says the red drawing, I'll lose my mind. Jane said the space to actually think about this. Here's an important thing I want to point out about that. That's actually a brilliant thing to say, Jane, because sometimes we think, oh, what I have to provide people as answers. Sometimes what we provide people is the space to think about things. And there is real value in that. And we forget it. We forget that, like, oh, by me doing a workshop and giving people space, even if I don't have all the answers, them having the space to reflect, when do they have the space in their life? That's a legit thing that gets offered. Aubrey said, it feels like a relief to know that marketing can be ethical and effective. Yeah, it can be. Yeah. It's and it has to, in the end, it has to be. In the end, if you try to separate those two things, it doesn't work. If you're just doing the effective thing but not ethical, it doesn't work in the long term. If you do the ethical thing with no effectiveness, oh, you're lovable. People love you. It's great, but you just get no clients. Yeah. Jonathan saying the triangle for me was a game changer. I've been consuming the matrix marketing for a while, and the half lovers part and how it applies to what we're building. Yeah, the triangle. I think you. What do you mean by the triangle, Jonathan? Which triangle are you talking
Right.
about?
What I meant was the pyramid, I guess I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Great. Yeah. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, it took a long time to come up with that. It's the thing, I'll say the thing that I've noticed missing in so much of the marketing, the mainstream thing at the level of ethics, right, is this, there's no filtering. Because the agenda is to get you to buy, there's no way for you to discern if it's a fit or not. They're not going to share anything that would dissuade you. Rather than actually the real joy in marketing is telling people, here's who this is not a fit for. Like this might be a fit for you if this, but it is not a fit for you if this. That becomes ironically, one of the ways you get more and better clients by filtering. And filtering is so fucking absent from so much marketing. In this kind of matrix marketing you're talking about. Also, the point of view marketing is so absent. There's so much of it is, do you have pain? Are you in pain? Great. They jump right from the relevance to the value, but there's no credibility in between. Relevance, pain point, pain point, pain point, free set Ginsu knives. Here's the value, and people buy. Rather than having that level in between, which is also filtering. Point of view is one of the biggest ways we filter. Because if I say, look, here's how I see it, here's my most provocative, controversial point of view, and you disagree, it's great. This is a win. You don't buy. That's success. Because it wasn't going to work out anyways. It was never going to happen in the long term. You were going to not apply things because you don't, if I am a nutritionist and I focus on helping people do the carnivore diet, that's kind of important to let people know. Otherwise, you get the raw vegan showing up, and then it's like, here's your protocol. The what? I'm gonna eat the what? No. So that's filtering, and it's missing. It's missing from so much of this matrix marketing. And what happens is then people start to say things like, well, yes, there's a dark side and a light side of the force to mix franchises, right? And they say, so we want to stay on the light side of the force. And then I asked a colleague this one time. I said, okay, so what's the dark side of the force? And they said, oh, it's using pain and problems to get people to buy. So we focus on the hope and the possibility. And I'm like, that's your grand revelation? Like you think hope and possibility aren't used to manipulate people all the fucking time with what you deserve? Don't you deserve this? All the seductions are focused on the possibility. So we have to go, I think, well, I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but it seems useful to go back to the basics of, okay, what's the goal? Is our goal to get them to buy at all costs, or is the goal to help us mutually discern, is this a fit or not? Because if you come in with this agenda to get people to buy, again, there's all the pressure, there's the pushback, there's the suspicion. But if instead we come in like, look, I don't even know if this is a fit, let's talk. And then you notice they feel like maybe there's some pressure that you're not even putting. You say, hey, well, let's just pause. I'm really not trying to sell you on this. I'm just trying to see if this is a fit. And if it isn't, I might know somebody I can refer you to. And then people relax and there's a human conversation that's had instead of a pitch. This is the unlock the game that Ari Galper was talking about. That's how you get out of the game that nobody wants to play, actually. And then people lie to each other. They lie to us to get information from us. We lie to them to, get them in the program. Yeah. Robin saying an honest review of where I am in the fundamentals. It's good to see where it's strong and where it's weak. Yeah. Christine said marketing is not self-promotion. It's not. It's interesting. The etymology of the word sell comes from share. It basically means to share, and particularly to share in response to a request. That's all we're doing. We're just sharing our stuff. We're just, in the root of the word marketing, it comes from market, as in like farmer's market, craft show. And the market is a great old human institution where we would get together from time to time and share and say, look, here's what I've been up to since I saw you last. How are your children? Look at this beautiful corn that I grew. Oh, my daughter, she's making some toys. She's not that good, but will you buy one to encourage her? This is what the market is. It's this place of community and connection and conviviality, and marketing is the enacting of that. That's what marketing should be, is the embodiment, the incarnation of that spirit of the market. And so it's not self-promotion. It's not, here's why I'm so great. It's specifically not about us as the self. It's us sharing our work. And then people buy who they want to buy from. And if it's a fit for us, it's great. And if it's not, it's not. And if your offers are no good, then nobody's going to buy from you. So then you get better at making good offers, which often comes down to niche and not trying to make the offers for all humans who've ever lived. And a couple of you really love the poem. I'm glad. Yeah, it's a beautiful poem. It's God, you got one life as far as we know. Who knows? But you got this one life. Why not go for it? If you're going to have a business, why have half a business? Why settle for like, this is okay? Why not make it startling? Why not make it something remarkable, never before seen, and something that is sustainable for you and satisfying and rich and simple, that brings you the kind of lifestyle you want to have? Why not go for it? Why settle? Don't settle. And Daniel is saying ethics and social media to ethics and sales. There are people who are afraid to sell at all, and it seems like they worry that it's unethical to do so. In my experience, there's a few things going on there. One, they're right. The approaches they have been told are unethical, and so many of the approaches they've seen are unethical. So that's what they're imagining, when it's like, oh, I can't do this. Well, do what? Well, stand up in front of people and do this pitch and then write the number down for my program and then cross it out and and then tell them they got 5 hours to get in a different color marker, this other, and using the fake scarcity and like lying about these things. Like, I can't do those things. Right. Good. Here's a thought I'll leave you with. What if it's not that you have a limiting belief? What if it's that you have a conscience instead? Yeah, what if the resistance you feel to those sketchy tactics is not your inner work undone? What if it's the conscience you were born with telling you, no, don't do it? In my experience, when people find the more ethical approach, a more beautiful approach to do it, it really, so much of the squirreliness goes away. That's not to say there's not fears of being seen, and there is some, sometimes therapy and there is inner work that needs to be done, but it should never be done because I can't get myself to do something wrong. It should never be that. All right. Robin has a question that says, I have clients who love the work we do together. My offering is niche. I have a point of view. It's based in beauty, yet I don't get many referrals. What's missing? It may not be something that's missing. It may be something that's present. Meaning, I don't know, but sometimes it's a situation where they're ashamed of having the issue, and so they don't want to tell their friends. They don't want to fess up to having that issue. Um, but it's worth a conversation. This is one of these things I might sit down with some of your best clients and just say, "Can I take you for coffee sometime? Because I'm trying to grow my business and I'd love to pick your brain if you'd be willing." And so you go for coffee with them and you express this. And it's like, why do you think that is? I would ask them because they'll tell you better than I can tell you. Why do you think people don't tell their friends about this? And what could be done about that? And do you have any friends who might be, do you have any ideas of where I could spread the word? Do you have any friends who might be interested? And sometimes it's then we have to make it safer. Some things, like let's say certain kinds of addiction, people are just so ashamed, and it may take time before they've dealt with enough of the shame for them to ever be able to talk about it. And there's that. And if that's the case, then I would say you've got to lean a lot harder on the hubs because your clients may not be the hubs for you yet. They might over time, but it might take a moment. So then you go to the hubs. But the most important thing is if you don't know why your clients aren't spreading the word, ask them. If you ever send out an email and you think there should be a really good response to this and you don't get that kind of response, I would just send an email to your list saying, hey, can I get everybody's help? I sent out this email. I was so excited about it. I thought this was going to get a big response and like nobody signed up. Would you be willing to give me some honest feedback why that is? Is the price too high? Is the timing wrong? Is it confusing? And you can start to get some feedback. Start to ask, why is this not landing? And you'll learn a lot. And then you can, and then that's a great part. Then you could send out another emails like, hey, I got some feedback. I made the changes. I think it's clear. I think it's a little more compelling. I changed the dates, changed the price. What do you think now? And you may get a better response. But your clients will tell you everything you need to know. But they won't tell you if they're scared that the reason you're asking is to get them to buy. If they don't trust the ethics piece, they will never tell you the truth. But if they trust that, oh, this person's just asking because they're not trying to get me to buy, they're just trying to figure out if the truth of it. They're never going to corner me. They're never going to prey upon me. If I expose a weakness, they're not going to use that to get me to buy. They're going to protect me instead of prey upon me. When there's that level of trust, then people start to be really honest with you. And that just takes time. And sometimes people are so gun shy. People have been burned by so many people who do just what you do. I mean, look at your industry. It's probably lack of ethics galore. So it can take a while to get people to, trust. And yeah, Robin, as you're saying, if your ethics are strong, then it may be the hubs. You just may need to find, okay, where else do my people hang out? Where do they spend money, their time, their attention? What are the groups they're part of? What are the people they're connected to, the media they follow? You start to do that, and then you can reach out to those hubs and say, hey, would you be interested in spreading the word about this? And do something like that. And I think you'll find those hubs are a lot more open to spreading the word than your clients might be. But again, ask your clients. I don't know your situation. Okay, we'll wrap it there. Bless you all. I don't know the kind of work you're doing, but I imagine it's good work in the world. So I release you back to the world and your community that needs you. Thanks for everything you're doing, seen and probably mostly unseen. And Daniel, thank you so much for hosting me.
It was great to have you. That was a delight. I'd love to have you back another time, 6 or 9 months or something. And I'd even love to rap about these things. I'd love to have a conversation at some point for the people.
Okay, yeah. Well, let me know. We'll do that.
But yeah, is really, I mean, you can see the value that people got. It's really beautiful. Is that word? Yeah, thanks for being beautiful for us.
Hey, you're welcome. You too. All
All
right.
right.
Take care, everybody.
Be well, everyone.